Have you ever felt confused or overwhelmed in relationships? Theresa and I have come up with a free mini course that we think will really help you out with a lot of the common relationship experiences so that you can improve your communication skills with all of the people in your life and really make a change for the better.
Yeah, we really believe that everybody deserves the opportunity to learn healthy relationship skills so that we can get through life having a good, healthy relationship experience. So click the link, put your email in, you'll get the PDF, spend a few hours working on it, and please let us know what your experience is. We know it will benefit you in some way. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
I thought that one was pretty good.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. Check. So the sister that's 2 years older than me gave me a Christmas gift last year, which is the birth order book. And I have been and I still am, I guess, resistant to opening it. I'm like, well, I wonder what that message is. So, because I was the youngest, and there's a lot of, I think, some common things that people say about the baby of the family, et cetera. And especially since I was the first boy, that is the kind of sibling rivalry that I think happens. My Inner Knowing, empowering you to find your compass for the journey. We are dedicated to supporting you to rediscover and trust your natural ability to navigate life each day by sharing insight and experience through the lens of two professional communicators and their guests. We intend to prompt internal inquiry that supports all those willing to explore a unique path.
Well, hello.
Hello. You snuck that one in on me.
did.
I wasn't ready.
How are you?
Sneaky. I am exhausted.
Yeah, getting ready for trial.
I guess.
And health stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Struggle.
Struggle. And personal work stuff.
Yeah.
And
Physical therapy. Massage therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of body work today. Yeah.
Yeah. Not a lot of work because I went to my mental health practitioner. I went to my physical therapist, and then I went to a new massage lady.
Yeah.
It's not like I go for massages all the time, but because of the hip thing going on, I decided I needed to take further action since physical therapy wasn't doing it. So anyway, that was 5 hours of my day.
I think you need to ask Mandy about seeing Esteban.
You know Esteban?
I don't know Esteban, but I've heard about Esteban.
Okay.
So I'll have to ask Mandy about Esteban.
All right.
Okay.
I thought the lady today was great.
Oh, I think Esteban's a physical therapist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, we were talking about different things that we might visit about today.
Yeah.
And one is sibling rivalry across a lifetime. And this one seemed to speak to you a lot. So we're going to lead off with you. But I'm sure I'll have plenty to say because I got a lot of siblings. There's 12 of us, as a matter of fact, from different families, or different marriages of the two parents. But in any event, you have many siblings of your own.
I do.
Your parents are still alive.
They are, and still married.
So when you get together, because you guys get together a lot, it's really nice that your mom still, the way I see it as an outsider's view, is she kind of is the glue. She has an expectation that we're going to do this. And, not everybody comes every time, but it's really nice. But when you do get together, do you find yourself, whether your parents are present or not, and it may be different when they're not there, but if they're there or they're not, do you have an experience of vying for your spot in the pecking order?
It's changed a lot over the years. Not anymore, but I was the fifth of 8. So there was plenty of that growing up. Plenty.
Do you remember that TV show called 8 is Enough?
Yeah.
Anyway.
8 is enough.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Double the Brady Bunch.
And they had, and they had a lot of sibling rivalry in the Brady Bunch. The funny thing is I don't remember if 8 is Enough did they?
I don't remember, I was 9 or 10 years old when it was, but I vaguely, what I remember about the Brady Bunch is Marcia.
Yeah.
When Jan was jealous.
Yeah.
So everything was about Marcia.
So plenty of sibling rivalry going on. Yeah. I know there's a lot of theory out there about siblings and birth order and roles we play, in the family. And it's interesting. I wish I remember exactly how this topic came up for me, but I know I was doing some work with a client. And the thought came to me, do we struggle so much, even when we're an adult, because we're still in competition for our parents' attention? And I don't think they have to even be alive anymore. I think it can be in our mind, proving something to even our siblings, even if our parents aren't around anymore, that I have value. If you want to come down to it, that I have value, regardless of what the struggle is about. I feel like, for me personally, I have done a lot of trauma work around my parents. And at this point in my life, I recognize in a really clear way, regardless of the struggles, my parents worked so hard for us to have a good life. Truly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see that.
Yeah. And so the things that I learned from them, either directly or indirectly, what I feel like happened for me in doing all that work was that I had some level of awareness that I think has grown the last few years in particular, that I don't need anything from them anymore. I do know that they love me, even if in the ways that I needed it wasn't always the ways that I needed it. But absolutely, when I was younger, trying to prove that I was, good enough, smart enough, I would say attractive enough to a degree, even though I don't really remember my mom and dad saying much about appearance. I know that it had to have been in there somewhere.
You've shared that there were wig comments
occasionally by my parents.
More oblique, but still.
Yeah, my mom's family was much more direct about it, but my parents themselves, not very much. I remember my mom saying more about herself than me or any of my siblings. I remember a conversation with my dad when I was in high school, when I injured myself, and he made a comment that if I lost weight, maybe that would have been helpful for me not injuring myself, which come to find out really is just a genetic thing that myself and all of my children have struggled with as well. And then we tend to grow out of it by the time we're in our 20s. But that recognition that I'm not seeking approval from them anymore, and not in a disconnected way. I love my parents. I again can see how hard it is that they worked to raise us, the 7 of us, because I had a sister, Alice, that died when she was an infant. And so it was a lot. And on the little amount, that they had, they did provide well for us. But I don't know that that's a place that many of us get to. where we're done needing our parents to see us, hear us, value us, love us in all the ways that we need, right? Like they may in their own way, in their limited emotional way or mental way. But I think we're often still in competition with each other.
Yeah.
Hoping that our parents will see our value. And if not, if they're not around, that our siblings will see our value, which makes me think about a conversation we had last year, just about some sibling. We were having a conversation.
Falling back into roles.
Yeah. So as someone who both of your parents have passed and your dad, not quite 10 years ago, right? But close.
11.
Oh, 11 years? Oh, okay.
2014.
Okay. And then your mom?
1993.
Wow. 32 years ago.
Yep, 93.
Yeah, you were a young man.
She was a young woman. She was a year younger, 2 years younger, 3 years younger than I am now. She died at 54.
Wow.
Lung cancer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just a baby.
So what's it like for you? You know, when I mentioned that about parents, like is there a part of you that's still hoping that they could have seen you, heard you, mirrored you, loved you in the ways that you wanted and needed?
Oh, sure. And then also in the sibling context, but it might, we're the oldest of multiple marriages, right? Our parents were married when they were kids, and then they both got married 3 or 4 more times. But just with that, I was the youngest of that first group. I have 3 older sisters and then me. And if this is interesting, the sister when we're all 2 years apart. So the sister that's 2 years older than me gave me a Christmas gift last year, which is the birth order book. And I have been and I still am, I guess, resistant to opening it. I'm like, well, I wonder what that message is. So, because I was the youngest, and there's a lot of, I think, some common things that people say about the baby of the family, et cetera. And especially since I was the first boy, that is the kind of sibling rivalry that I think happens. But with me and my mother, the piece that's like still, I guess, broken for me is, and I was thinking about this just the other day. She wrote this song. She played the guitar. She wrote this song about my 3 sisters. Each one of them was a different type of flower,
okay.
But there was no flower for me.
I've not heard this story.
Yeah. So, I think it just goes, I'm going way beyond what we started with, but that I believe that I was the safe attempt to save the marriage baby. And the fact that I was a boy gave additional, hope that would happen, and it didn't. And, she was loving and in lots of different ways, but I still have that feeling that, I was less than as a boy and as the thing that didn't work. Just more burden on her, she had a lot of burden taking care of all those kids.
Yeah.
It's nothing compared to your mother. And so anyway, there's that. And my sisters, we have different feelings about mom, there's still, and I've worked on it a lot, and some forgiveness has come to me just in the last year, this year when I went to Sedona Mago, was doing some deep body work, frankly, and some forgiveness came in a meditation. But it's, we move in stages, right? We wanted to just click the switch and all better. And
right.
I don't know that I'm not sure that we ever get all better. But like you say, less intense and less often.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It doesn't last as long.
Yeah. But, but it's just like a scar on your body, you see it, but you don't think about it much anymore. Some days it itches a little bit. I don't think about, the time I put my hand through the window, that sort of thing when I see it. But, every once in a while.
Time you put your hand through the window?
Yeah.
What was that? Oh, yeah. You told me about that. It's been a long time.
Yeah. And there's the scar on my
forehead.
Yep.
Right here.
Oh, wrong side. Yeah. Ran through a glass door.
As did I.
Yeah.
Is that what brought us together? We both ran through a glass door.
I love you.
You are nuts.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
Well, there was, and then from on my sister's side, which is fascinating since the sex thing came up, as the only boy, I think there was a lot of resentment, especially, most forcibly by my oldest sister. And then second oldest sister, not so much, quiet. It's kind of the classic middle child, I guess, if you classify people into those things, but whatever, and then there's the one that's 2 years older than me. And I'm sure that there was some of that feeling because she was athletic. And she wanted my dad's attention, it was important. And I remember him trying to give her, but not enough.
Yeah.
Right. It was so sporadic. And so I think there's still that, the baby and, I got special consideration because I was a boy. And remember, this is old school days. I mean, probably not as old school as we'd all like it to be. Right.
Yeah.
But there was a big money focus in my family, right? That came from my grandparents. And my grandmother grew up wealthy. My grandfather came from, nothing. And it was just this overarching thing in his life, which he passed down to me. Right. It's because it's still significant, and I've gone through periods where I've said, I don't care about that. And then I do. But I decided I'd rather care about it and ask for abundance than eschew it and live in lack because I've been in lack. I mean, not like a lot of people, but still struggling to pay the bills, et cetera. So set that aside. Here's the deal. He did well for himself. And it wasn't, I don't want to go there. It was a lot of money. Okay. Not gazillions, like, crazy, but a lot. And so both grandparents, my grandmother focused on things because she had fine things, different china from Europe, or her dad had traveled, and pieces of furniture and all those things. And so from the time I was little, she would tell each of us what we were going to get. And then she might change her mind.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot, and probably a whole other episode. But the point that I'm trying circuitously to get to is this: from the money perspective, my oldest sister was very clear to her that I was being treated differently. Mm-hmm. And as a man, for example, we'd go to Thanksgiving at their house and everybody would, dinner would be over. And then my grandfather would say, you girls go help your grandmother in the kitchen, which is an appropriate thing to do if children haven't been taught to help. And then he would say, you stay here to me. Mm-hmm. And so that was fine by me. And this is, I was probably 8. Mm-hmm. Anyway, my oldest sister's 6 years older, so she's 14, 15, whatever. Mm-hmm. So somehow I ended up in the same space with her outside of the dining room. Mm-hmm. And she pulled me in close and mm-hmm. said, you are helping out in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. And she was pissed. Mm-hmm. And I don't blame her for being pissed. And mm-hmm. I did help out in the kitchen, and I've helped out in the kitchen ever since. Mm-hmm. But mm-hmm. that for her mm-hmm. was wounding. Mm-hmm. And then as we got older, she would call me the heir apparent. Mm-hmm. And my grandmother, was trying to set aside CDs for different people, that sort of stuff. But then she kept changing everybody's designation all the time. She'd get angry. Then you'd get scratched off at the bank and somebody else would come in. So, there was just games like that, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, coming back to the sibling rivalry thing, that existed. And I think there's vestiges of it still.
Sure.
So anyway, just I think she needed validation and worthiness, value. I'm valued as much as he is. Mm-hmm. And as the others, maybe, I don't know that she felt that way about the other siblings. She pretty much was the alpha of the girls, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. The women. And still falls into that role. Mm-hmm. But I think the being in charge thing is part of how can I be recognized as having value in this system? Mm-hmm. And then if she is like, she makes an invitation and I decide I'm not going or whatever it is, she gets hurt. Mm-hmm. And feels abandoned, all that stuff. And what I think is, just as we're talking about it, that goes back to that whole structure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So there's different things that come to mind, I think. Can you imagine going up to each one of your older siblings and gently touching them on the upper arm and saying, I love you so much?
Yeah.
And what do you think?
Of course.
What do you think their reaction would be?
I think I'd get hugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So you
I
can
think
do
they'd
it?
be different, though.
Yeah.
I tell them I love them all the time.
Yeah. That's not what I said.
I love you so much.
I love you so much. Mm-hmm. It's different than I love you. Do you feel it different?
Sure. Yeah, I think that my sisters know I love them so much. Pretty sure. You don't think so?
I think we're talking about different levels of love.
There's another relationship thing that came up. I'm steering us back, but this one is significant. the sister that's 2 years older than me was my grandmother's favorite.
Yes.
Absolutely. You know, if there was like the golden child, that was her golden child. And it's almost humorous between me and Ashley now.
Oh,
you know, because I
role,
just
right,
I just say, well, you were the favorite. And she's like, I know.
Right.
And it's okay. But when we were children, I remember we were there one summer for a long time, and she was having Ashley take piano lessons, and you know, and so she'd have Ashley playing, and then she wanted us to play chopsticks together and all that stuff. And so when I was playing my part, Ashley would mess up my part intentionally, like reach over there and, you know.
Yes, right. I can imagine.
And then so I decided the turnabout is fair play. And so I start messing up Ashley's, and my grandmother is like got all over me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said, well, she can mess mine up. And the answer was, yes, she can. So we laugh about that now, but as far as me and my grandmother, that still hurts me. I mean, in a way, but I mean, I'm not wandering around, you know, it's not like a core wound or something that I carry, but it's enough to remember, to share in this. But the good part about it is that it's okay with me that Ashley was her favorite. Yeah. It really is. Yeah. I mean, then I didn't like it so much. But I'm glad that Ashley was loved that much. She needed it. Yeah. 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 And maybe I can see it that way because I was my grandfather's favorite. Right. Because I was. Right.
What if you were nobody's favorite?
Well, yeah. And that could be Amy and Liz. Two oldest. I probably shouldn't be using people's names, but anyway, sorry guys, you've been identified. Yeah. I think you would still carry the pain of not being seen. I mean, there were just so many weird disconnects in my family though. It was like, sometimes I wouldn't get a birthday gift, right? And then the same year, you know, my second oldest would get like an electric guitar and an amplifier, you know, a really expensive gift, or a fancy bike, or a really nice desk for her room. And I don't know what that was about. Yeah. It was on some level, I think my dad was trying to make up for his lack of attention, and maybe the hurt that was out there over her not being a favorite. But honestly, actually, if I step back about this for a second, now that we're talking about it, I think she was my mother's favorite. I'm like, I don't just think it. Okay. So we can take her out of the equation because she did have a favorite person. So that leaves my oldest sister. And that makes me really sad. Because I do love them. And I don't want anybody hurting that way from roles or lack of, you know, whatever it was. So what you're saying, I think, is one of the best things we can do is say it. Yeah. Looking in their eyes and meaning it. Right. So much. So much. Yeah. So what's your advice for siblings trying to, you know, not, you know, because now that we're talking about it, it's like it has to be simmering back in there. And we're going to come back to your family in just a second because I see things as the outsider too.
Yeah. Right. I was just talking about me. I wasn't talking about my siblings. Yeah. 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 So you were going to ask me what?
Is there anything that we can help people that are, you know, provide to people that are watching, some advice or guidance in how, you know, if you had, if there was favoritism by parents, and I think that, the golden child there's this phrase that everybody knows because it happens, right?
And the black sheep.
Yeah, and the black sheep. And sometimes people put that label on themselves.
For sure.
Right. So how do we morph out of those roles? How do we drop the weight of the role now? Well, parents, let's say parents are deceased. Maybe it's easier when they're deceased, or maybe it's lost opportunity when they're deceased.
Yeah. I think it depends for sure.
Yeah. On
the specific situation. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Woo. We always get so complicated.
We are so complicated. I think we have to want to release the role. Well, I think we have to even acknowledge that we are playing a role in our family, which we've talked some about. And then do we want to release the role? I think for some people, not being the jokester or not being the successful one or not being the athlete or not being whatever, would be terrifying to not play because it's what they've always known. And so will I still have value if I release the role that I've played for decades? And the reality is, unfortunately, is for some parents, they wouldn't like it if their child left the role that their child has played for decades. There are parents that would want their child to still be the athlete, to still be the successful one, to still be whatever. What?
Nothing. Never mind. Sorry. Back to me. It's so human.
It is. Are we talking about me again? Yeah.
Well, if you're not, I am. Ooh, go ahead.
It's So we have to be aware of it. We have to be curious with ourselves. What is the role I play? Because I am playing one. Do I want to let it go? Do I want to explore who it is to be me? Am I willing to risk judgment or abandonment by my family to be myself? Whew. I think, some people try, for sure. Some people are willing, for sure. There's so much that comes to mind because I think we also, today, one of the things that I see in the therapy room is an expectation that our parents should be perfect. That, and I don't know exactly the evolution, of that. I do think social media has contributed to it based off the things that I, hear from people. Even though I don't consume a lot of it. And I'm not a TikTok person, so I don't see, all that's out there. But I do hear things. And so I think there is an expectation, well, the information's out there, so you should just do it all perfectly. And if you don't, then you're a bad parent. When you don't know what a parent is like until you are one. And, regardless of my kids' age, which now range from 17 to 30, I'm still learning every day what the role of a parent is. It's not because they're, more grown now that role has ended. It just, I don't think it's ever stopped shifting, actually. Have I mentioned that I think parenting is one of the hardest things that we'll ever do?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think
that's
few
why
times.
We're doing a series on it. Yeah.
Right.
And why it's so hard.
Yeah. I look at my parents. I mean, if I think about the competition, piece and were their favorites, I don't remember there being favorites. I'm not saying that they weren't there. I'm just saying I don't think it was as overt as maybe your family's was. Maybe, and maybe I don't remember. Maybe I just didn't allow that memory to stick, but I don't remember that. What I do remember really was that my grandparents, both of my grandmothers, I did not experience as very connected, doing their roles, go over, apron on in the kitchen, doing their roles. That's what I remember about them, but not particularly connected. My mom really wasn't either, but I don't know. Maybe because I was the fifth, I didn't have an expectation that she would be because she was already really busy by the time I came around. I don't know. I do have one brother, so he's second from the youngest. And so I do think there was some of that. And then part of me is like, I think my dad had given up by then on having any other gendered child other than female by child number 7. So if it was there, I just don't remember it being so overt. But I do know in conversations with my siblings now, that there are some who feel like my dad didn't love them, didn't care for them, did not prefer them, did not engage with them. I don't know that my dad knows what to do with females. I think boys would have been easier for him. And I think for me, I just stepped into that role. You want to paint the house? Sure. You want to do that? Sure. Whatever. This was something that somebody said to me recently that I found really interesting, was that one of my siblings struggled not with me as much as because they were older than me, they should have accomplished more in their life because they were older than me. And I was like, I don't even know what to do with that, right?
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I don't think about it in that way at all. But that has to be connected to some level of sibling rivalry, right? But where it comes from, I don't know. Specifically, I don't know. And so I don't know how our parents can't have had impact. I think there's no way they did not have had impact, whether they were more covert, as I experienced my parents to me, doesn't mean my siblings experienced them that way. Or your family that maybe was more overt in stating it, the impact is still there. And what are we still looking for, regardless whether it's overt or covert in actions by our parents? What are we looking for?
To be seen.
Yeah. Valued.
Yeah,
loved,
valued.
Chosen. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Enough.
Yeah. So if we don't ever feel like we ever get that from our parents, wouldn't the rivalry just keep going?
Sure.
Unless a sibling or several siblings decided to step out, like, okay, and that's what I feel like I've worked on, is just stepping out. And not specifically about in comparison to my siblings, just how do I step fully into who I am as an adult? Do I trust myself, or do I still need my parents to determine my value? And for me, it was that realization that my parents do not determine my value. I determine my value. I'm still working on it. I will the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Think back to about, 35 minutes ago when you were asking me why I was teary today.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Sharing, old story, insecurity.
Yeah.
Right? Right. So even though I don't need it from my parents anymore, I'm still working through the story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What are you thinking about?
Oh, just thinking about there's also roles that are based on parental observation of your character traits.
Mm-hmm. Yes, go.
Well, on your strengths, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know when it started with you, but my observation is you're the go-to person.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be wrong, but I think the first time that there's news, or if somebody has to be named as a decision maker, you're always at the top of the list. That's my perception. And I don't know if that's true or if it's not, but what I perceive though is that has an impact on some of your siblings. That your relationship with your parents is, and I'm not privy to the intimacy of it, right? Because I don't hear the details of conversations. I just hear information from you and observations when we're together, right? My perception of that interaction in your family is that you are viewed as competent and capable and more like an equal.
It's interesting because I think this is where the sibling piece gets messier, right?
Yes.
Because sure, I think there are siblings of mine that would believe that or say that is true. And what I know is I talk to my parents twice a month.
Yeah, it's not daily or even weekly.
Yeah. And maybe 3 times, maybe. But there are several of my siblings my parents talk to every day.
Really?
Yeah. And there are siblings that my parents ask for guidance. Like I think my parents go to different siblings depending on what it is that they are, needing or wanting. But I think it can look like that, what you said is true. I just don't think it is true, but I think it can be perceived to be true. One of the things that we realized about my mom years ago was that whenever we asked my mom a question individually, she gave a different answer depending on who she was talking to. Right?
Yes. I vaguely remember an incident with that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I really didn't think that my mom was doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
I just felt like she was adapting to whomever it was that was asking her, what do you want for your birthday present? What kind of food do you want? And she wouldn't, my mom's sense of self wasn't developed enough that she could decide what she wanted or needed. And I think she's still working on it at 83. But I think she would often answer based off what she thought the other person could or would offer. I think she's still learning how to have a voice. But I'm not the person she's been talking to about her dentures and the surgeries and the messed up. Like that hasn't been me at all.
True.
Right?
Yeah, no, that's true.
Or, my dad's health concerns, when he hurt his shoulder, like that's not a role that I play. And so, to me, it would be sad if that is the perception that I am the go-to person because it isn't true.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is. It may be.
See all those other pieces.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So can that be true in every family? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can parents have favorites? Absolutely.
Your kids have talked about favorites.
Yeah.
And I know that, my experience is that no.
Yeah. I don't have a favorite. But I think it's common and I think it's talked about. And I think that sometimes I guess better what a child needs. Does that make sense? I think sometimes I'm wrong. Like I just, missed that one. But it wasn't for a lack of effort or preference. Nobody taught me how to be a parent. I've just been learning along the way. But I don't have a preference. I love all of my kids for their uniqueness. I think I've mentioned this before, but I feel like the biggest compliment I ever received was from a friend that's been around for a while. And she said, I've never met 4 siblings who are so different, which to me, I was like, thank you. Because I don't want them to play a role. I want them to be who they are. And that doesn't mean that that's easy. And it doesn't mean that my children don't think I have a favorite. And they have brought it up, like, who's your favorite? I'm like, I don't have one. And they're like, oh, whatever. And I was like, no, really, I don't.
Well, what's funny is that the 2 that I'm thinking of each think the other one is favorite.
Isn't that funny? And I think as they can, but I do think as they continue to age, I think that has shifted. Like I don't know that my 3 oldest feel quite that way anymore. I think that has changed. But I do think my youngest still feels that way. But it isn't. It isn't true. Have I understood them less? I think so.
Sure.
I think I had a lot of practice raising boys, which was very intimidating when I had them because I'm like, what do you do with a boy? I don't have a clue what to do with the boy. And it was an adventure for sure. And so then, when I had a girl, in my mind, those roles were still very distinct, and that was the way I was raised. And I think that that they have taught me a lot, and I would say indirectly, not having this conversation with me, because at the age that it started, it wasn't something that cognitively was even capable, but pushing back on any type of gender role, and I don't mean that in a traditional sense, because all of my kids worked and helped me with projects. All of them know how to cook. All of them, I didn't pick, like when you mentioned earlier about, okay, girls, go help grandma in the kitchen. You stay here with me. Like that was not me, right? I was not raised that way. I was always doing things physically with my dad, working very hard. But that doesn't mean that I, saw them clearly. I mean, there absolutely have been times where I haven't seen any of my kids clearly. Does that contribute to some rivalry? Of course. Some not feeling enough, of course. Again, overtly or covertly, what can we do around sibling rivalry as we get older?
Love each other.
Truly.
Yeah.
Deeply, authentically.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want you to play a role around me.
I think having frank conversations, the fact that Ashley and I can acknowledge, and that I can find joy that she was loved like that. I was loved too, but I would have been second. If I was 0, it might not be so easy.
Right.
Right. So It's easy to say when I was number 1 to one and number 2 to the next.
Right.
But I still think trying to have conversation where you talk about your experience is the way to start that healing. Man, it could be ugly. I think your notes that I was looking on this topic, you talk about a therapy reenactment of playground. playground arguments between siblings or whatever, and the reenacting is just heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also, you can tell us the therapeutic benefits of that.
Mm-hmm.
But, how do we engage in that sort of conversation in a way that people, if the hurt is still so deep, because it can be,
Mm-hmm.
how do you engage?
Mm-hmm.
What's a good way to do that?
Well, I have talked a little bit about this before, but, one of the things that I encouraged, my siblings to do, I think it was 7 years ago, 7 years ago, was we all got together and had a conversation where each one of us told our version of our life story without interruption or feedback or challenge. And really for me, it was about this opportunity to grow compassion with each other, to see each other, more clearly, recognizing that even if we grew up in the same house, it doesn't mean we had the same experience, or that we even have a clue what's gone on in our siblings' lives. So for me, if I was working with a family, siblings, who were trying to repair their relationship, I would start there. I would learn as much as I could about their family system. If their parents were still alive, I would absolutely want to have at least an hour with each of them.
Yeah.
Because that would inform me a lot. I've talked about this, I think, before, but one of the things that I do when I'm working with the family system is I don't say, tell me about your mom, tell me about your dad. I don't want the story that we've created over our lifetime. That's not helpful for me. So I will ask to each person, what are 3 words to describe your mom? What is something that you just love about her? What is something about her that drives you crazy or is annoying? And if you could change one thing about her, what would it be? And so doing that with each sibling, around each parent, and then around each sibling gives me a very full picture of how that person sees themselves in the system, beyond what their story is that they've been telling about their role in the system. Because sometimes people can feel like they're, the black sheep of the family, when really in the family doesn't consider them that. They could even be the golden child. And so there can be a lot of incongruence in family system stories.
Right.
And so, I'm really trying to hold the whole picture of what's going on for each person that's in the system, and then helping them see each other more clearly, if they're willing. But every person, in order for there to be repair, people have to be willing.
Yeah, and there can be so much hurt that they're not.
Yeah, yeah.
And so much hurt and so little self-work, or self-awareness, that they just won't.
Yeah.
Hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what
I
was
just want to hug my sisters. I do. Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. And I think that
little girls.
We're all little, aren't we? Our little bitty selves looking for the experience of being seen, heard, valued, loved, appreciated. Yeah. Yeah. Which we cannot get from just our parents, which I think is an expectation too, that all of that should come from our parents.
Right.
As opposed to a community. And I think that is impacted by the way we live today. For sure.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Our parents cannot.
So isolated.
Yeah. They cannot provide for all our needs. They may think that they can.
Yeah.
but we will be lacking in getting needs met. Yeah. One of the things, I think I talked about this a little bit when Kath Ann was on, when we were discussing the needs apart from the nonviolent communication course that I took. And one of the things that I recognized in doing the course was that I have done a lot of work understanding what my needs are and then figuring out how to get them met, but by many different people. I no longer have an expectation that you, Walker, will meet all my needs.
Yeah.
Or that my kids will meet all my needs.
Right.
And so I think that's an important part too. Us having a more realistic expectation as children, what our parents can and cannot offer us when they're trying. I'm not saying all parents are trying to be present.
Sure. Right.
Or trying to be engaged, because that is not true. But the ones that are trying.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a lot of different needs.
Let me ask you this. Do you think, because what's coming to mind is that, the most important is us doing work so we can give it to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that that's the really ultimately the sole source of, or should be the sole source of meeting our needs?
I don't think so.
Okay.
That's not my opinion. Maybe I'll change my mind, but I don't know. I've done a lot of work learning to trust myself, to take care of myself, to create structure and discipline. It's not enough for me. It's not enough for me to feel like I am seen, heard, valued. I think we're relational beings. We're designed to be relational. I mean, I'll say to clients, like, everything about us is designed to be a relational. And so, and if we want to step into the physiology of it, just how much we need feedback from others to be okay.
Yeah.
We need mirrors. We need feedback. Healthy preferred, even though, we still learn. We can learn from feedback that is not so healthy. I think trusting ourselves is the goal, but I don't think it takes care of us needing others to be in relationship with and
Sure.
to meet other needs. I mean, connection is a need. I can't do that. It's not, I can try to fake it. I think people try to.
Sure.
But does it create wholeness? Does it create joy? Or is it convenient? And
yeah, to me, what I'm trying to put that into framework is that the self-trust piece is so critical. That our definition of self is not dependent on the need for the relationships that we have, right? In other words, that is part of our wholeness, being in relationship and having needs. And there's people that fill those needs, but also being able to come back to that core when there's incongruence.
Oh, sure.
Incongruency, so that we're not defined by the other. Right. So I feel like I'm coming up with the answer, which is, it's the integrated whole has us at the center, but we also need, these relationships.
Yeah.
Not a specific, right? But we need relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it would be interesting to look at that needs list from that course to see how many of those can we accomplish on our own.
Another episode.
Yeah, but I do think, ultimately learning to trust ourselves is, I think, the biggest goal that we can have. I think it's lifelong.
Yeah, trust and love.
Yeah. Learning to be in healthy relationship. Yeah, I had somebody tell me today that they just started the course, the relationship course, the the 10 skills. And they got stuck at the very first question. And they realized that neither one of them had ever, in the time that they'd been together, fully experienced the other person fully present with them. Yeah. And they were like, holy shit. Like,
yeah.
Right. Relationship is complex, and we can imagine all kinds of things, about ourselves and us in relationship with others, but are we actually even asking ourselves questions about how we really are with ourselves? Because in the Course, it's not just about the other, right? It's, it is about us too.
Sure.
Right. Are we doing any level of self-inquiry? Yeah. Trusting ourselves first. But I don't think we can meet all of our own needs. I don't. But if someone wants to have the conversation, telling me that they don't need anybody else and they want to sit down and have it, then you can let us know, because I would love to explore that with that person.
I think we can go through periods of time where we feel that way. And I was, I was asking rhetorically, but there was a time when I was 6, where I told myself I didn't need other people. It's, we were moving to a bad neighborhood and leaving what friends I had, just all that stuff. And there was like the song at school, because we sang every day at the school, was like this avant-garde, 70s experiment with open classrooms and things. So the whole school would gather in like the library, which was in the center of this round school building. And we would sing every morning. She was a great music teacher and just passionate, all that stuff. But in any event, People Need People was one of the songs. And I was like, yeah, that's bullshit. But it was my 6-year-old way of dealing with with the circumstances. But what I realized, as the loneliness grew, was that I did.
Yeah.
So there was a certainty to it. And then there was a certainty the other way, which is, this is very lonely.
Yeah.
So
that
anyway.
Part of you that was just trying to protect yourself. I don't need anybody.
Nope. That's right.
This is too hard. People are too messy.
I am still happy being alone for lengthy periods of time, but I do need people.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're just straying from the original topic.
That's okay. That's okay.
Oh, all right.
Family systems and relationship and, our needs, they're all interconnected.
Yeah.
Our relationships with our parents, our siblings, our extended family, even. I just don't know that we know each other very well, even though we think we do.
Yeah.
And
it's time to start.
It is time to start.
Yeah.
Yeah. Being curious, asking questions, holding space, what is most important to you? What is most important to you now at this point in your life? Do you know?
Oh, I don't have to choose to try to answer that question, to be honest. Yeah. What's most important to you?
Healthy relationship. Yeah. Once I realized that I didn't know how to be in healthy relationship, but part of me wanted it so desperately that became my number one goal. Healthy relationship. I will never stop experimenting. I will never stop practicing how to be in healthy relationship ever.
Well, it's a good thing for me.
Yeah. Well, and for me, for you coming on board.
Yeah. I mean, what came to mind was just physical health right now.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of energy and focus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway.
Yeah. Well,
I work on relationship every day.
Yes, you do.
I do.
I know. You do. You do.
Yeah. I mean, I try to find ways to say I love you every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think being more intentional about it, if we go back to, when I asked you, could you say that to your siblings?
Mm-hmm.
Could you say it? Could you say it? And not be at all uncomfortable?
It's like you're doubting me. I think I can. Okay. I don't know. Maybe the answer speaks for itself, but now you're making it weird, kind of creepy.
Yeah. And I don't mean just you, babe. I mean like to people who are like, when you are with your siblings, how intentional are you about being in a relationship with them? Or are you just hanging out together? And again, I'm not just talking about you, Walker, and your siblings. I'm talking about like
you.
Everybody, right? When we are with our family, are we intentionally in relationship with them? Or are we just in the same space because we go to this place once a month or the holidays or, do we help each other feel seen, heard, valued? Are we curious with each other? I think you're great at being curious when I see you engage with people. Yeah, I really do.
I got skills.
Mm-hmm.
I want people to feel loved.
I know.
And I'm not always kind, but I want to be.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for seeing that.
Yeah. Thanks for having the conversation. The more we can do to just keep being more intentional in our relationships instead of just assuming they'll always be there and be the way they have been too, right? Like relationship can change if we want to put the effort in. It doesn't mean the other person will reciprocate, but it will change the dynamic.
Right.
If we step in and decide to be more intentional in our relationships. Yeah. So I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you for joining us today. We are excited to explore life with you. We encourage curiosity, self-growth, and we strive to be more compassionate every day.